Hello, Judge. My name is Dean Dr. Satyamurthy, and this is my partner, Beyond Sangvi, and today we're going to be representing American SS on the negation side of the argument. Time starts on my first word. Sorry. Our first contention is pandemics. The 25 states of population growth, travel, and growing livestock are all raising the prospect of more regular severe pandemics. The rapid spread and mutation of deadly bird flu warrants another pandemic. Shaw Neville 25 adds that the UK's biotech sector benefits from a diverse talent pool and world-class research. Biopharma companies in the UK saw a surge in venture financing for innovator drugs in 2024, and this is expected to continue with 2025 already reaching a total of $1.1 billion. Drug discovery has supported the UK's growth, with companies like Google DeepMind in particular making strides. The UK has been working to position itself as a global leader in biotech. UOE 22 states that livestock diseases could be eradicated by introducing animals genetically resistant to disease through gene editing. Having 10% of resistant animals may eradicate disease. Elimination could be achieved in less than 3 years given a vaccine. According to UK Gov 25, 60% of all known human infectious diseases are zoonotic or transmitted from animals to humans. 75% of emerging infectious diseases originate in animals. Disease incursions impact farmers, rural communities, and disrupt key supply chains. G25 concludes that public health experts have warned about the risks of infectious diseases jumping from animals to humans in markets. These markets remain the best way of transmitting diseases. Will bird flu spark a human pandemic? Scientists say the risk is rising. COVID-19 was amplified in markets, yet the wildlife trade still thrives in many parts of the globe. These practices have simply gone underground. Millions of animals are being traded on a daily basis. Wild 25 adds the UK's regulatory freedoms for gene editing could be compromised in EU realignment as a block resists precision breeding technology. Making these tools readily available will accelerate durable disease resistance. England is now ahead of every other European country in adopting more progressive regulations. EU rules would cost this long-term innovation. Our second contention is AI. Shake 25 states that China leads in AI research, outpacing all the US and Europe. Over 60% of AI-related patents originated from Chinese institutions. Chinese sector investments in AI have skyrocketed with over $40 billion invested in AI development in 2024 alone. The UK is the third largest AI market in the world, after the US and China, larger than any country in Europe. The UK's Artificial Intelligence Action Plan will transform healthcare, improve infrastructure, and reduce administrative burdens for teachers, while adding £47 billion to the economy each year. Macadoff 25 state that to add growth, the UK is taking risk and experimenting with US companies. The UK will experiment with US chipmaker NVIDIA's leading AI products to speed up innovation and growth. A supercharged sandbox would give successful applicants the chance to experiment safely with cutting-edge AI. AI could be used to identify payment fraud or help identify stock manipulation. The program is set to begin in October, a year after the Chancellor ordered the FCA to encourage more risk-taking to help spur growth. US-UK partnerships flip the script. Parsons 75 adds the UK's industry-leading tech and AI bring a tech partner that delivers security for both nations. The UK has a key role to prevent China from winning the AI race. Universities attract top talent, building the most skilled workforce in the world. EU regulations and innovation. Kaplan 712 states the UK is better placed than most countries to establish itself as a major AI power. It has a deep talent pool, world-leading universities, and a culture of innovation. European countries have been hamstrung by an incoherent regulatory regime, and complex tech laws are being over-enforced to treat US companies as a cash cow, posing spurious fines and creating a barrier to US trade. Costs are mounting. The UK's government approach gives us confidence to keep investing. A European regulatory regime will hamper innovation and make companies think twice about investing. Thus, we urge you to negate. Thank you.
My name is Neil Agarwal. I'm going to be giving the affirmation speech for Dougherty Valley High School. My time will start on my first word. That is your phone. Okay, my time will start on my first word. In a time where systems are collapsing, families are facing rising costs, and people are dying, the answer isn't isolation, it's integration. We affirm. Our first contention is healthcare. Smith 25 states, the UK's medical system is broken and suffering the biggest crisis in history. The number of people waiting 12 or more hours to be admitted into the emergency rooms rose to more than 74,000 people this summer. Meanwhile, a 7 million strong waiting list means many people feel abandoned in pain for months. BP24 states one of the most immediate impacts of Brexit on the NHS has been its effect on staffing. The NHS depends on healthcare workers from the EU. However, since Brexit, the number of healthcare professionals from the EU has significantly decreased. This is due to the introduction of more complex visa and immigration processes, making recruitment from the EU extremely challenging. It then goes on to say that staffing shortages could lead to higher workloads, impacting the quality of patient care. BP24 then goes on to state that the NHS relies significantly on importing medical supplies, equipment, and medicine from EU countries. The establishment of custom checks, tariffs, and other trade barriers after Brexit posed a logistical challenge in maintaining this uninterrupted flow of these crucial goods. That's bad, because this drug shortage causes mass deaths. Campbell 25 explains that 2.8 million people across the UK are too sick to work amid a sluggish economy. Deaths due to cancer rose to 176,000 a year. And during 2023 to 2025, cost the UK economy $10.3 billion. Affirming fundamentally solves. Who's in Rooks 25 explains that the EU has a pharma package which is designed to modernize the EU's approach to medicine. The EU's pharma package is explicitly designed to fix shortages and improve access across the market. If the UK rejoins, these tools would once again cover the UK. Our second contention is economy. Brexit introduced new trade and regulatory frictions that have reduced growth. Rejoining removes these frictions and improves living standards. OBR 24 explains that outside the EU, the volume of UK exports is around 15% lower. That drop in trade volume leads to a 4% reduction in the UK's long-term productivity. Extra reform, rule of origin checks, and border delays discourage trade, making firms less efficient. Rejoining restores frictionless market access, reversing this significant productivity drag. The costs are already visible. Springford 23 estimates the UK economy is about 5% smaller than it would have been without Brexit. Removing these frictions by rejoining is the most direct way to close this widening gap. Trade shows the effect clearly. Phillips 25 finds that reduced UK exports to the EU by about 15% and imports by around 32% relative to a non-Brexit scenario. Rejoining the single market removes these and restores frictionless access to a 450 million person market, allowing firms to scale and supporting jobs. Investment has also been affected. Phillips 25 reports that the number of foreign investment projects into the UK fell by roughly 20% after Brexit. Investors value certainty and automatic EU access. Membership restores both by unlocking more projects and higher value job creation. Services are central as well. When the UK left the single market, it lost its passporting, the automatic right for firms to sell across the EU with a single license. Sashi 21 explains that on the first day of this new regime, about 6 billion in EU share trading shifted from the London to EU venues. Roughly 7,500 jobs have moved. 2 in 5 financial service firms have moved or plan to move out of the UK. Rejoining restores passporting, reduces compliance costs, and strengthens high-value exports and trade receipts. Thank you. Ready for calls?
Yeah. Can I have the first question?
Sure.
Can you explain your link chain for your second contention about the economy, right?
Yeah, so we talk about a couple things in our economy case. One, we say that once Brexit happened, the EU had a 4% decrease in its long-term productivity, a huge buffer in its economy, and this is all due to non-tariff barriers, right? Rejoining fundamentally destroys these barriers and fixes all these numbers once again. Can I take the next question?
Yeah.
Okay, in your second contention, you talk about how the UK is the third largest AI market, and joining with regulations would harm its AI market, right? But we can see, right, Germany and France are both in the top 10 of AI development, and they are part of the EU, right? So why is it not affecting them?
It's not affecting them because, okay, well, the UK's AI sector is fundamentally different from theirs, uh, and the rest of the EU's behind in AI regulations, and the EU's complex tech laws treat US companies as cash cows, and uh, those laws aren't good, and they restrict development.
But your whole case is about how the AI industry in the UK will suffer from these regulations. But we can clearly see that in France and Germany, many of our examples who are in the top 10 of AI development are not affected by these regulations in the EU, right? They've been here through the whole wave of AI. They've been in the EU and there's been no impact on them.
Okay. Can I get another question?
Sure.
How does joining the EU removes restrictions, and you say it creates a frictionless?
Yeah, I get it. So basically what we're saying is that leaving the UK, the whole problem is these non-tariff barriers, like we talk about extra form, rule of origin checks, and border delays, which discourage trade and makes firms a lot more, less efficient. Rejoining instantly restores market access because it destroys these non-tariff trade barriers.
Okay.
Can I take the next question?
Yeah.
Okay. In your first contention, you talk about how that the EU regulations on animals and on biotech laws, right?
Biotech laws?
Not biotech, bioinformatic regulations, right?
Sure.
In the research, right?
Yeah.
So couldn't the EU actually opt out of these regulations?
No.
Couldn't the UK actually opt out of these regulations?
They cannot opt out of these regulations. These are essential part of the EU. They can't opt out.
Well, why not?
Because that's how the EU works.
The countries have adopted out opted out of adopting the euro, right? They can opt out.
The specific act is a Precision Breeding Act in this case, and they can't opt out of that.
Okay.
EU.
I think that's
Yeah.
How much prep was that? 1:30.
I'm gonna start with the off-time roadmap. We'll first reiterate our case, and then we'll go on to attack the opponent's case. All right. On my first word. Is it ready? The EU has presented themselves as quite as the EU has presented themselves as quite important as per my opponent's display of them, but themselves EU have already been suffering majorly through healthcare, as they've been going through a severe shortage of doctors and medical professionals. And however, my opponents also claim that the EU has been supplying most of the drugs, when Wilkinson 19 states that India and China supply 90% of generic drugs to the UK, thus refuting their claim. Also, for the AI contention that my opponents were talking about, 60% of AI-related patents originated from Chinese institutions. Now, imagine with all of the regulations that are put in place by the EU that could get in the way of modern AI development by the West into development. The UK's artificial intelligence action plan will transform healthcare, improve infrastructure, and reduce administrative burdens for teachers, while adding $47 billion for the economy each year, thus also helping refute my opponent's the economy becoming 5% smaller. And the UK would love to experiment with a US chipmaker NVIDIA and their leading AI products to speed up innovation and growth. And this cannot occur if with the EU's laws against American trade, encouraging American companies as a cash cow. The UK's industry-leading technology workforce and AI fields bring both a tech partner that delivers security for both the nations, for both the US and the UK, thus furthering the West as a civilization as a whole. That's it.
Whatever. 1 minute for now, please.
Okay. My name's Krish. I'll be the second speaker for Dougherty Valley. Timer will start my first word. Judge, the neg is wrong. Their case lacks real-world evidence and contextualization. Here are responses. Let's go on to their first contention of pandemic. So right now, the gist of their argument basically is that they're saying right now that the UK healthcare system will help provide pandemics, help provide vaccines, which can help to solve critical diseases and help resolve pandemics. However, this is not true. The UK's NHS system is currently failing. As we can see this by BP24 states that, however, since Brexit, the number of healthcare professionals from the EU has significantly decreased. It further goes on to say that that the establishment of customs check and other tariff barriers after Brexit has imposed logistical challenges on maintaining the interrupted flow of crucial goods. Simply, the UK is not getting the medical goods they need, and that is causing medical shortages. They don't have the healthcare system to even solve pandemics at all. The whole argument goes out of that. Second, they say that the EU does not cost restoration. However, they don't explain this. They never give any links to this, no evidence to this. They just said it helps. It'll help cause long-term restoration, but they don't give anything to that, so we can't take that for a fact. And even if we do say this, it's simply not true. Even if we do say this, it's simply not true because the UK is right now costing itself. The EU is going to only further help by even helping them give these drugs and medical staff for them. Now, let's go on to their second contention, AI. Now, they say that if the UK were to join the EU, their AI sector would be pretty much dismantled, and it wouldn't work as much as compared to countries such as China, and it would fail in the AI race. However, this is simply not true, and this is simply not true. Joining would not dismantle it, and this is because obviously AI can be very uncertain in many areas, and the EU's AI ensures safety. By ensuring safety, the UK's AI sector won't completely dismantle, but it will actually ensure safety. And remember, investors thrive on safety and not volatility. Investors will be more encouraged to invest when they know a safer market is there, and that's why the UK joining the EU will not completely ruin it. Second, the EU is making a $50 billion investment in AI. So they're being safe and they're making investment in AI. Their AI sector is continuing to grow, so UK joining won't completely destroy. It won't limit them. It will just completely go along with it and will help them thrive and even help computer countries develop while giving them more safety regulations to help them with. Lastly, if my opponent states that the UK's AI sector will be dismantled, then why is it true that France and Germany are top 10 AI sectors in the EU economy? If they're top 10, the UK can be too. Their argument that the UK AI sector will be dismantled is completely not true and does not make sense at all. Now let's go on to what they said on our contention. So on their UK argument, they said that the AI actually helps boost the economy. However, this is not true. If the AI were to actually boost the economy, we'd be seeing it by now. Simply, the AI does not work at all, and the UK's economy is in a deep slate. Right now, joining is the only way to solve. You can't rely on AI, as we said, it's very uncertain and won't guarantee success. Join the EU guarantees success in the AI. Now, going on to the second contention, they completely concede on everything we say. They don't respond to our medical system contention. They don't respond to our staffing shortages or drug shortages. They completely concede everything and don't respond to a single thing in our argument. Judge, if you're looking for an argument that gives evidence and gives concrete support and data for our evidence, vote us, and that's we're proud to affirm. Thank you.
Yo, are you ready for cross?
Yeah. Since you went first, you have the first question.
Sorry?
Since you went first, you can have the first question.
So you were saying how the UK AI market is really risky and how investors wouldn't really want to invest into it. Could you tell me what are the aspects of the UK market as a whole within AI that would make it so unsafe for us to
Well,
invest
as
in?
we were saying, no one really knows the future of AI and really the capacity it holds. No one knows if it's gonna. Some points it might be amazing, some points it may be down. We don't know that. We're just saying by joining, it ensures safety and it reduces volatility, which investors do thrive, and they thrive on stability, as we said. Let me take the next question, please. Okay, so I guess on your UK, well, I'll respond to the UK economy. You said the AI would help, but if AI were to help, why aren't we seeing the results already?
We are seeing the results already.
How?
First of all, the UK's economy has severely recovered since 2020 when COVID-19 obviously hit, and as a result, our growing AI sector with tons of startups that do operate from Silicon Valley have also branched out into the UK, furthering the jobs for those within the country.
Okay, do you have numbers? Any numbers on that?
Yeah, I'll send it.
Okay. Any numbers now?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
And also, you were saying how AI hasn't done anything for the economy. Could you prove how it hasn't?
Well, okay, look, AI has done stuff for the economy, but it's not enough to mitigate the effects of Brexit. Right now, Brexit, as we said, is causing a mass economic crisis in Britain, and it's causing exports to go down, imports to go down, it's causing overall productivity to go down. Just because you have AI does not mean it's fixing the problems. Joining the EU is what we're saying will fix the problems. Let me take the next question.
Wait, just one. Wait, do you have any? What's the source behind the imports and exports going down?
We'll send it.
Okay.
Okay. Let me take the next question now. So you say on your pandemics argument that right now the obviously UK can help solve many pandemics and the vaccines do that. But as we said, they've been dealing with drug shortages. Can you explain how with these drug shortages they would be able to help solve this? All these pandemics you're talking about.
So I said, wait, could you repeat it one more time?
I'll say how with all these drug shortages, how would they help solve all these pandemics that you keep talking about?
Alright, essentially, I agree with you. Yes, there is a drug shortage, but the drug shortage is not going to be solved by the EU. The EU will just cause more regulations overall and make it harder for countries to develop. Because right now, Britain is at the top in the biotech area. So I don't see how the EU can really help it progress when considering the fact that.
But the UK.
Wait, let me just finish. That the UK gets most of its generic medicine from China and from India. 90%, I tell you, and this is stated by Wilkinson 19.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
That's,
Is it done? All right. Thanks, Ben.
I'll take 1 minute of breath.
Wait, do you want me to send you guys the source right now, or do you want me to?
Yeah, send the source right now.
Do you want ours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, could you remind me what I said that I would send?
I think you should know that. But I think.
Oh, right, yeah, UK's economy.
Yeah.
And you guys wanted the reduction and increase in trade, imports and exports.
Yeah, the imports and exports, the reduction overall. It's Neil Agarwal, right?
Yeah.
I put on reply all. I sent it. Let me know if you got it.
I sent ours.
Oh, you sent yours?
Yeah.
I didn't get anything yet.
Judge, for a quick off-time roadmap, I'm gonna first frontline our case and then explain why our opponent's case is flawed, and then I'm gonna move on to weighing at the end if I have time. Time starts on my first word. So, Judge, they respond to our pandemics case by saying we lack real-world examples, but COVID-19 is a real-world example, and they said we don't have proof of it being effective, but vaccines, given a vaccine, elimination could be done in 3 years of these pandemics, and UK saw a surge in venture financing when they said investors thrive on stability, so they're actually supporting our claim in this case. And then for our AI contention, we say that AI can, we're saying that the UK's regulatory laws create over safety, treating US companies as cash cows, so they're making these laws that create spurious fines that also degrade the economy over time and hurt the economy. And then moving on to their healthcare contentions, how can the EU solve these shortages when the EU has shortages themselves? How can the UK eradicate these shortages by joining the EU? And also we have evidence that says 90% of drugs are provided by India and China, so the EU is actually not reliant on the EU, as stated by Wilkinson 19. And then they say mass deaths from these drug shortages, but drug shortages don't matter if you don't have a vaccine. These drug shortages, not given a vaccine, despite all these drugs, millions of people are still going to die. And they say the UK has a drug shortage, and they sort of said something about how the UK's biosector is not all that, but I want to make a clear distinction. Drug shortage is different from drug research, and the UK's biotech is leading in that. And moving on to their economy contention, they state that the economy becomes 5% smaller, but as we said before, the AI growth in the UK, unhampered by the EU, can generate £47 billion in revenue. And moving back to our AI contention, they also said countries like Germany and France are in the top 10, but the UK is in the upper 5, the top 3, and AI laws would still restrict growth. And who isn't saying that Germany and France are still being restricted by the EU? Like, they can be top 5 and not top 10 if they were outside of the EU, who knows? And these AI laws really hamper the growth of those countries and all countries within the EU because of over complex tech laws. And moving on to weighing, we went on time frame because pandemics are imminent as evidenced by COVID-19, and that killed a lot of people. We win on magnitude because pandemics are worldwide and can impact a lot of people, and we also win on probability because, like I said, pandemics are imminent and scientists say so. Thank you.
Are we going to be taking prep? Okay, guys, it's time. A minute, 10 seconds. So, Judge, a quick off-time roadmap. First, I'm going to be going over their case, then I'll be coming back and going over our case, and then I'll be ending the way. My time, we'll start on my first way. On their first contention of pandemics, we tell you that the NHS is a failing system. The UK is not getting enough medicine and research equipment to help them with their research in bioinformatics drug development. Okay, they tell you that research is hindered, right? But we tell you actually join the UK, join the EU. The UK will have access to EU's own research. It'll actually benefit the research, benefit drug treatment, and benefit help decrease pandemics. Now onto their second contention of research. Their whole contention relies on the sole fact that joining the EU will reduce the UK's AI economy. However, we give you the example of France and Germany, which are among the top 10 in AI industries in the world. Okay, they completely drop this, right? We also tell you that joining the EU will give the UK a $50 million investment into AI. We can see from all this, the UK joining the EU only helps the UK's AI market. Now, going on to our case. Our first contention of healthcare, we tell you the UK medical system is broken. 7 million people are waiting for treatment, and 2.8 million people suffer from diseases and don't have treatment for it. Then on our second contention of economy, we tell you that Brexit introduced new trade and non-tariff barriers which have decreased the economy and productivity of the nation. On our first contention of healthcare, they tell you that 90%, their main argument is that 90% of drugs come from India and China. However, this is the problem. The UK joining the EU provides frictionless access without visa issues, without immigration issues. Getting drugs from India and China only increases the issue. The fastest and most smoothest way to solve this problem is the UK joining the EU. In fact, they also tell you that the AI Act will help healthcare. However, we tell you that the UK is already affected by the AI Acts, and the UK is still suffering. Okay, now going on to weighing. Judge, we win on magnitude and probability. We tell you that 2.8 million people across the EU are too sick to work amid a sluggish economy. Debts are rising every year by hundreds of thousands, and the UK economy is suffering $2.3 billion. Affirming fundamentally resolves all these problems. And in economy, we tell you that 6 billion have shifted and 7,000 jobs have been replaced, and the economy has dropped 5%, which equates to millions upon billions of dollars. Okay, now on their impact, they tell you their whole impact revolves around the point of pandemics. However, we have clearly stated that this impact is no longer valid. That's why you should vote for the affirmative side. Thank you.
Ready for Grant? Can I get the first question?
Sure.
So you say, how does the UK's trading with India and China, like about drugs, how is it that an issue? You mentioned that.
Yeah, so we'd say the whole point of the UK joining the EU in the healthcare system is that that Brexit introduced complex visa and immigration processes, right? Joining the EU will completely remove all these processes and have a free flow of goods, right? With India and China, these complex processes will still remain, right? Joining the EU is the clearest, fastest, and easiest way to have this movement of goods, of equipment, medicine, and solve this healthcare problem.
Okay, but how does the EU solve the shortages when they have shortages themselves?
The EU, okay, so we tell you, that's a good question. We tell you about that pharma package. This is specifically designed to fix shortages and improve against the single market. You don't even respond to this, right? If the UK rejoins, the tool would cover the UK once again.
But then, if the EU is going through this shortage, where do they come up with this package?
They're implementing this package because of this shortage, right? This is basically a legislature which exponentially increases the speed of fixes shortages and problems in the healthcare system. The UK joining would make them part of this and help them the healthcare system.
Wait,
That's a good question. Okay. So I'm gonna go back to your research class AI contention. So when you said that the UK rejoining the EU will completely dismantle it, I want to know can you just give me some reasons as to what is there to make the EU that actually regulates this?
they have an AI Act and Digital Technology Act that actually impose spurious fines on, for example, as I mentioned before, U.S. cash cow companies, and they treat them as cash cows. So they impose spurious fines, which are basically fines that make no sense. Like that's bad. Yeah.
Okay, and then going on, can you explain why France and Germany are succeeding but why the UK can't?
Huh?
France and Germany are succeeding but the UK can't.
16 by
Yeah,
the
so-
UK?
So basically,
Wait,
it's,
could you tell him to repeat his question?
Okay, why are France and Germany succeeding but the UK can't?
The UK is number 3. France and Germany are in the top 10. I don't know. who
Yeah,
the
it's
top-
still good. They're still top 10.
Why-
Yeah, wait,
why
how is the UK
how's
struggling
UK
if they're top
struggling?
3?
Yeah.
I mean, you say if the UK were to join, then they're
Okay, if they were to join,
yeah.
okay, because they're treating, it's going to degrade the economy first of all, because they're treating U.S. companies as cash cows, so that, that doesn't improve U.S. and UK tech relations.
And American
And also,
companies,
they have, they have AI laws that would also restrict growth.
And American companies have over about 86,000 people employed in the AI sector in the UK, which has grown by 33% in the last fiscal year. And also, as a result, the AI sector has grown from 11 billion
Just a
to
quick
20
follow-up
billion.
question. You say drug shortages and doctor shortages, but how does that matter if you don't have a vaccine?
we're
If
not
there's a
talking about
pandemic-
vaccines, right? We're talking about
Yeah, but
like,
we're saying
common-
that there's a vaccine, and to find that vaccine, you need to invest in UK's biotech sector. And without the vaccine, you can't. Regardless if you have all these drugs, you're still not gonna save people's
so
lives.
It's not just medicine and just vaccines, right? We're talking about medical supplies, equipment, healthcare workers, all people, like people in general. Like, this will definitely.
yes. We're taking all the prep we have left. 30 seconds.
Oh, that's 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Judge, are you ready? Opponents, are you ready? Right. On my first word, start. My opponent has been consistently arguing that the AI industry in the UK hasn't been doing much and has contributed little to none, and the UK hasn't been succeeding as a whole. However, we've consistently refuted that by stating that the AI industry in the UK has contributed over $24 billion from the sector alone, with employment at 86,000 people. We've really outweighed them in that area, and we also have to refute the claim that the opponent keeps stating the NHS to deflect our biotech research claims. However, the NHS is solely there for, it's not there for medical research, it's just there to treat people. So therefore that source is refuted too. Next thing is our opponents bring up is a drug shortage. The EU itself doesn't supply most of the drugs to Britain. It's actually India and China, as stated by Wilkinson 19, giving over 90% of the drugs that are generic to the UK, helping run the industry. Now, as of pre-2019, before the UK was planning on leaving the EU, there's been a netward negative 5% migration of doctors that have left, as stated. So would the EU joining really make this come back? And also, our opponents have also not refuted any of our claims regarding the AI sector, as the economy has clearly been growing, the jobs have been growing, and overall it's been doing really well, helping the UK economy. The drug shortage claim has also been destroyed, as well. We've brought up the examples of India and China doing most of the drugs, and also the EU bringing in most of the doctors, whereas pre-2019, there was a 5% net negative migration, as stated by NLM. And millions died during COVID as a result of not adequate biotech research when the EU, because the EU, as we all know, formally left during 2020, January 31st. So due to indecisiveness, the UK wasn't able to properly participate in helping with the biotech vaccine. So in the end, Judge, we've both seen it. The AI sector has really helped the UK progress. And in terms of magnitude, the amount of people being employed and the amount of people that would be saved by all these drugs, it really just outweighs everything that they have. And in terms of probability too, all this has already happened, so it's 100%. And that's why, Judge, I urge you significantly, please vote negative.
Okay, we're gonna take 30 seconds. Oh, it's 20 seconds of prep.
Okay, timer start on my first word. Judge, the ballot is for app. The neg has clearly conceded our claim. Just look no further than our econ contention, where they have barely any response to this. They completely concede everything they're saying, and they don't give any response to any of our market types. They don't give any response to our productivity being down. They give no response. They completely concede that contention. So with that, you should already know that they're basically accepting our contention, and that gives us, and that helps us get the win. Anyway, let's go on to their contention. So they have been saying that with pandemics, the UK gives multiple vaccines to help solve. But UK is currently dealing with drug shortages. With these drug shortages and staff shortages, their medical sector is not even able to function properly. With this, there's no way they can help solve pandemics, and their whole argument goes out of the way. Oh wait, they also mentioned research, but we said the EU gives research, disproving that claim. Going on to the research AI, we said that EU does not destroy, but actually helps safety by giving it stability and restricts risk. France and Germany are top 10 in the AI, by the way, and the UK, so UK can do the same. What they're saying about the UK this being dismantled by joining the EU is completely false and does not matter at all. Now, let's go on to weighing. We win on magnitude. We're basically, on our healthcare argument, we're basically saying 7 million strong waiting line, and thousands of people are wearing the emergency room. Simply, if we do not solve this, thousands to millions of people could potentially die from the UK's healthcare crisis. We need to solve this now, and that's what our claim does by joining the EU. On their magnitude/weighing, they don't give any quantifiable evidence, and their evidence does not truly account for the fact that the UK is dealing with drug shortages that actually help reduce the UK's healthcare sector and everything. Okay. And secondly, we also win on probability. Us joining the EU instantly helped with the EU's farmer package, helping give access to UK healthcare goods and people, helping the people survive, and helping the UK's economy and further their healthcare sector thrive and saving millions of lives. And with that, the clear ballot is for an app. Thank you.
Wait, are you guys from DVHS?
Yeah.
Do you know Naisha Sangvi?
No.
Wait, what grade are you guys in?
Juniors.
Huh? Oh, juniors.
What are you in?
Huh?
What are you in?
Sophomores. Hey, good debate.
Yeah, good.
voted Dougherty on the pro side. You guys want me with like the healthcare contention, and I preferred your guys' weighing because you guys clearly summarized the entire debate and explained why their like arguments against you guys didn't work out. And also their like weighing was just like trust us because scientists say so and didn't cite much evidence, and I couldn't really like kind of like understand why their impact of pandemics outweighed. The dropped econ contention also won me because it showed me that they conceded it and it is at 100% risk. Yeah, do you guys want me to go over individual comments, or do you guys just want to leave? For Dougherty, for pro side, I really liked their arguments and the clash you guys did. I really loved it when you guys like pointed out what they dropped and why some of their arguments didn't make sense. The clarity was also great. It really boosted your guys' ethos. And for American SS, I think some quotations in your speeches would make them better. I think you guys should be careful about prep time. Your crossfire answers were great. And some were really also good, but I think some more like explanation of how this entire like debate played out would make your guys' side look better. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all. Any questions?